$5 Games presents Tinyfolks, another rather fun game that I plan to 100%. Tinyfolks is a turn-based RPG without your typical lengthy RPG plot. The game starts with a king finding a magic crown that blesses everyone, or something like that. It's the MacGuffin of the game. An evil sorcerer comes and you fight an unwinnable battle. That's the tutorial of the game, so if you're bad, don't worry about it. The king survives the encounter and then the countdown to the end of the world begins. There are 4 difficulties in the game. On the easiest, there isn't a countdown timer, but you can't get achievements either. On normal, you have 45 days to beat the game. On hard, you have 30 days to beat the game and the enemies are harder. On the hardest difficulty, you have 45 days again, but the enemies are much harder. The king is your strongest unit, but he is not necessary to beat the game. He survived the encounter with the sorcerer in the tutorial. So you shouldn't feel too bad about him dying off. Although every single time he's died, I've restarted the game, so I suppose that makes me a hypocrite. Except that one time that I didn't even notice him missing. Anyways, you get more party members from the tavern. 1 free peasant every day, the others require an upgraded tavern in gold. However, you have a max population size of 3 until you start building and upgrading buildings. Everything in town besides recruiting requires 1 day to process. So if you make a building, upgrade a sword, or train a peasant to become a warrior, that takes 1 day. While they are training or being upgraded, they can't join your party. They have to stay in town. Buildings unlock extra classes for you to play, and upgraded buildings can unlock global abilities. Some of these abilities are things like more gold, building armor, or healing your units faster, which you frequently need since whenever someone heads out to explore, it can take them anywhere from 1 to 5 days to recover, kind of like that futuristic game of chess behind cover. So you have 45 days and each day ends when you explore with a group or choose to sleep. Exploring consists of 3 to 4 battles in a row. Generally speaking, each round of combat consists of every enemy and ally getting 1 turn. It starts with your turn and the character at the front of your party moves first. Then it alternates to the enemies with whoever is in front of their party. Then it's the second person's turn for each side, and so on and so forth. The only exception to this are bosses who move after every ally turn. Killing enemies drops money and resources which are used for buildings and some upgrades. At the end of each battle, you collect materials and have a chance of having an artifact. Artifacts are items that can greatly enhance your character, such as having 20 more life or increasing how much gold you collect. The good shoes makes the character's special abilities cost 5 less, which is rather amazing. It meant that my peasant could eat a sandwich for free and become practically unkillable for the first several areas. As long as you're not in a boss fight, you can return to town, thus ending the day. Which, by the way, the king can solo the first area. The boss is a tree, reminiscent of the one from the land of the pink puffball, and you can set that tree on fire. It dies in 2 turns. The difficulty of the game are those boss battles, especially the first time you fight them. You don't know their HP, their immunities, their weaknesses, nothing. You simply don't know if the party you have is going to be strong enough to beat them or not. The other difficulty is managing your time wisely each day. In other words, do you send people out or do you have them stay in town and upgrade? Do you revisit the same area over and over again when you explore, or are you ready for the next place? Discovering these things is the real fun in this game. If you follow an online guide, you'll be able to breeze through it all and not really have any fun. You'll simply miss out on what makes the game interesting. Probably shouldn't have told you about that burning tree at the beginning, but let's face it, the area is labeled as very easy. I was worried about the colors in the game being Game Boy style because it's not my favorite, but the bopping music and the snappy gameplay more than makes up for it. It's an excellent fast-paced RPG. Subscribe, I do 5 of these a week. Like and comment if you want. That's a wrap for this game. Pick this game up instead of staring at a game trying to decide whether or not to pick it up.